Hi friends, so I was asked by one of our viewers who's been following my videos for a while, so I thank him, whether I could discuss INFJs in academia and why INFJs often get stuck in academia. INFJs are talented, INFJs tend to be intellectual, INFJs tend to have holistic minds, so at first sight it would seem as if they were ideally suited to academia, and yet I think a lot of them struggle. And at some level, I have been one of these, I have been one of these. I have a PhD, but I didn't really pursue a career in academia after that. And I did get to feel stuck eventually, right? And I have an idea of why. So perhaps I can inject part of that life experience into my illustrations. We will see. I thought that using the tripartite model of different INFJ subtypes could be useful to try to see if we glean additional insight into why INFJs can get stuck in academia. So the adaptive submissive INFJ, the INFJ who gets along or who is keen or even anxious to get along with others and to kind of adapt his or her personality to the expectations of others. The solipsistic INFJ, who's kind of the flip side of that, withdrawn and do their own thing and ignores in some sense others. And then the liberated INFJ, who is a synthesis of the two in many ways and who has managed to connect the NI world and external reality through usually the realization of a vocation, a concrete project that embodies in external reality the content, isomorphically the content of their NI world. Now, if you look at it from this perspective, I think that you can understand, first of all, why are adaptive INFJs likely or at risk of feeling stuck in academia? Well, because in a sense they're probably very likely to end up pursuing a topic that they don't really want to study for such a long period. Indeed, if you become an expert, that is to say an academic, you become a world expert on your topic. It's kind of a niche area, and if you're adaptive submissive, you're probably going to be eager to respond to opportunities that are coming from outside and to shape your research project according to how you perceive these opportunities to be. It might initially facilitate your further progression inside academia, including via doing a PhD. The thing is, the PhD is the first test, it's at least 3 years, sometimes up to 5 years, 6 years. And if you have not actually authentically chosen the topic that you're most passionate about, it's likely you'll be frustrated and you'll get sick of it, simply because you did not really make your own choice. The frustration of the solipsistic INFJ, in a sense, are going to be the flip side of that. They're going to be the flip side of that because, because their research will seek to be so idiosyncratically what they want it to be that they will tend to ignore some essential rules in academic politics, which is to kind of always manage to be aligned with what's being done, acknowledging other researchers, particularly your colleagues, but not just your colleagues, connecting with people in the academic journals, going to conferences, being overall agreeable, knowing how to play the game, essentially, knowing how to play the game. And these INFJs are withdrawn and they have such a uniquely personal vision that they're not willing to compromise about, that they might run afoul, of these particular trajectories, because you need that flexibility that they lack. So in a sense, the adaptive submissive INFJ is too flexible. It's the price to pay is their own frustration at research that actually they didn't choose to do fully. The frustration of the solipsistic INFJ is that they might not be promoted to positions where they think they belong because they're not playing the game. Academia is not an easy world. Academia is a tough world, and politics is very much a part of it. So you need to be able to play that game. I think that for my part, I was more adaptive submissive, and that my issue ended up being frustration with my own research. And when I look back, it's always tempting to have regret and always think, what if I had chosen a different topic? What if I had been a different person in a way? Because at that time, that was the phase I was going through, and the process has still enriched me, including through shaping my character and allowing me to learn from the process, But I think my frustration was very much of the first kind, whereas I have met people, including an online friend on the INFJ forum who, I don't know if he is still in academia, but I was kind of concerned that if he persisted in not making any compromises over his particular vision for his research, he might encounter a resistance on the part of those academics that have the power to push his career forward. But I really hope that didn't happen and that he's now a thriving academic. So they're really examples of both types. I think the INFJ who's most likely to be successful in academia is either an INFJ who's so unbelievably, strikingly talented, right? That people are going to, in a sense, either forgive their solipsism or value their solipsism because the contributions are so brilliant that this revolutionary approach is impossible not to accept and acknowledge, right? And so they're going to be sought after by academic institutions. In fact, almost because their theoretical ambition is matched by their brilliance. So you really need to stand out, in order to manage things that way. So we're talking about a very small subsection of the INFJ community that's already a small section of the overall population. Now, the other INFJ who's likely to thrive in academia, or at least to have the tools to thrive, is the liberated INFJ, the spiritualized INFJ, precisely because, first of all, they're not going to make the mistake of choosing research they didn't want to pick. They're going to be aware of what they want to do, but they will have sufficient flexibility to navigate that world, including the more political aspects. I mean, maybe they won't want to bother with that, but maybe they'll think that as part of this translation of their NI world into a life project, which is the resolution of severance and really manifests as an academic vocation in this case, but it can be a completely different kind of vocation, it doesn't have to be academia. They will have a tendency to be able, much better able than either one of the other subtypes, to translate their idiosyncrasy into something more concrete. And through the very fact that it's more concrete, it incorporates politics, it incorporates the practicalities of conducting research, including some of its frustrations, its limitations, and its constraints. So here is your answer. Let me know what you think, and if you have any experiences of your own that you'd like to share, please share with me, because I always get inspiration from that. Don't forget that I have written a book on INFJs in the world today and how they can find happiness, purpose, value, and many more topics explored in depth. This is my new book, The Infinite Soul, on INFJ life in the modern world. If you have loved the book but haven't reviewed it yet, consider reviewing it, because it helps with the referencing on Amazon, and I really need more reviews, so please review it. I would be grateful. And I have written a book prior to that, which is more about the inside of the INFJ mind, the Ecstatic Soul, a new life at the INFJ personality. So the INFJ consciousness, the deepest study of it, and its existential manifestations. And as usual, the lifeblood of my channel is my Patreon page, so please consider submitting, or rather joining my Patreon page. $3.50 a month, and you can support me. It goes a long way towards supporting me. Okay, guys? It's getting loud, so I better go. Bye-bye.